everyone, RogueGold here. Welcome back to the Division 2. And today I've got a ton of new information to convey to you. We've got some top line updates that I'm going to feed your way right here in the intro. But then, most importantly, today we had both our first developer stream and our first patch notes of 2026. So this video is just going to be one giant bundle of news. The first important thing to note is that as listed on the patch notes posting, which we will go over just a minute what those patch notes are, the devs announced that updates for the foreseeable future are now going to be coming on Thursdays. For the past many years now, we've been accustomed to new updates coming on Tuesdays alongside the weekly reset. Well, they've said that for the next few, for whatever reason in their production schedule, they will now come on Thursday, including the new update that we are getting tomorrow. So good to be aware of that. One other thing that we can expect with tomorrow's update that is not listed in the other things we're going to cover here. For those of you who participated in Survive Fest this past week or back during December and resumed your progress this past week, any rewards that you have not yet been given for that are going to be distributed starting tomorrow. That includes the arm patch, the new backpack trophy that they added this time around, the Pestilence exotic skin. So keep an eye on your mailbox in the Division 2 starting tomorrow. And then finally, the survey that is going to be sent out to Survive Fest participants for Survivor's development, that is going to begin distribution on Friday, January 30th. They say here that delivery may vary by region and timing, so please keep an eye on your inbox. This is going to be going to whichever email you have associated with your Ubisoft Connect account. And again, this will only be sent out to those who participated in Survive Fest. But I'm very curious to see what that survey will contain, and hopefully it helps them out on the development of Survivors. But that is just the beginning. We have a ton of news to go over in this video, so let's get right to it. As always, have to give a major shout out and thank you to our channel members. Your support directly enables me to continue operating and making videos on this channel, which is such a joy, so thank you so much. Without further ado, let's dive into everything. So, as mentioned in the intro, today we had our first developer stream of the year. It was a pretty short one, and there was not a ton of crazy news to come out of this, so that's why I really just wanted to bundle it into this video instead of making it its own standalone recap. So, Yannick, the game's creative director, and Leo, one of our comm devs, hopped on to primarily talk about the Assassin's Creed collab and event pass that is going to be going live in-game tomorrow. We'll talk more on that in a moment. At the top of the stream, though, they addressed a few major topics that have been going on in the community. To begin, they acknowledged the departure of Julian Garrity, which we talked about in our own video here. He was the executive producer on all things Division. And while Yannick noted that Julian's impact on the Division franchise these past 10 years has been monumental, no question, he says that his departure means nothing for their future plans. They're still pushing ahead on the Division 2 development, on Survivors, the Division 3. So he says that while they will miss him, everything is carrying on as expected. Next, they then took a moment to talk about FPS Day in Japan. We've also done a video on this where they announced things such as the new anniversary season we have coming our way, the limited time realism mode that is going to be coming to the Division 2. Again, no new information given here. They said that will be coming to us in the next few weeks, but they just kind of recapped what went on there. But what they did then get into was the Division 1 Definitive Edition. This was the leaked thing that came out from FPS Day that so many people have been speculating about online. What they said was that this was actually not meant to be present at that event. There was a poster put up that was not intended to be there. And so in order to curb speculation in the coming weeks, they wanted to address it here on this stream. What they said is that this Definitive Edition is going to be replacing the Gold Edition of the Division 1 on all storefronts. It's going to be listed at the same price. And all it is, they're not making any changes to the Division 1. They're just going to be repackaging all content and cosmetic DLCs into one purchase. So for any brand new players coming to the franchise, you make one purchase and you get everything: Underground, Survival, Last Stand, all of those various random cosmetic and outfit packs that were released over the years. They did not clarify if existing owners who maybe don't own some of those cosmetic packs could upgrade to this for a cheaper cost. We'll have to wait and see if we get more details on that. But yeah, they said that they saw speculation running rampant. I did myself as well. I'm sure you all did. So they just wanted to set the record straight. That is what the Definitive Edition is going to be, and we should see that pop up around March. Alright, moving on, they then talked about the main purpose of the stream, which was the Assassin's Creed collaboration. So much like we had the Payday event pass before, Rainbow Six Siege, this season we are getting a crossover with Assassin's Creed. So they played the trailer for this, which was pretty short. The important dates to know: this is starting tomorrow on Thursday, January 29th. It is then going to run for 2 weeks until Thursday, February 12th. And as you can see right here, this is a short 10-tier reward track. Same flow as usual. 6 of these items are going to be earnable for free, whereas 4 will be paid, and you will need to purchase the track itself to unlock those. The way you then progress through this this track is just like usual with Season Pass XP. So stuff like priority objectives, Manhunt Scouts weekly projects, those are going to be some of your best sources for getting through this quickly. And as you can see, there are 4 outfits on there, 2 arm patches, 2 weapon skins. I've seen some debate and divisive comments on this, whether or not people actually like the inclusion of these outfits in the game. I'm kind of indifferent. I probably won't be wearing them too much myself, but if you're into it, this is coming your way tomorrow. Finally, then they just had a live gameplay section in which they took the usual Q&A questions. Only 2 really stood out to me as worthy of pointing out here in this recap. One was the usual question they got about PvP. Is anything going to happen for it? If you caught my what to expect in year 8 video, you would know about this, but Yannick acknowledged that the team has been searching for a new lead PvP game designer, a role which we have not had in place in many years for the Division 2. And his exact quote was, "We should have good news on the PvP front very soon." So I'm really looking forward to that. Finally, then it was asked, are there any new raids or incursions planned? And Yannick's only response was, all our future and year 8 plans are going to be revealed in March during the anniversary. So whether or not that includes any raids or incursions, I don't know, but I'm definitely looking forward to March so that we can get that full roadmap. So that was everything on the dev stream, and I will leave the VOD link down in the description below in case you want to go and check it out for yourself. Alright, last but not least, we then have a new patch coming our way tomorrow, Year 7 Season 3.2. It has been over a month since our last patch, so this is nice to see coming our way. As always, patch notes will be linked down in the description too, so you can go and read these for yourself. But expect the servers to go down at their usual times. I believe the downtime is listed at 5 hours this time. But let's read what is in store. They have a summary here. Firstly, we have the new Division 2 and Assassin's Creed limited time event pass. There is a new stat multiplier event called Vanguard Overdrive kicking off on January 30th. They say 15 store cosmetics have been moved into open world loot drops. That sounds pretty good. There is a new weekly enhanced legacy season cache available from the textile vendor. They have some improvements for NPC companions, scouts, and gear behavior. And then finally, as we noted, the next few title updates will be dropping on Thursdays instead of Tuesdays. So first off here, they have the Division 2 and Assassin's Creed collaboration, new event pass from January 29th to February 12th. They link the article here, but it just goes over everything that we just talked about in the stream recap in terms of what the rewards are, how you progress them. So let's move on down here to the Vanguard Overdrive Stat Event Multiplier, whatever you want to call it, runs from January 30th until February 3rd. And this time around, the bonuses are going to be 50% reload speed, 50% swap speed, 40% hazard protection, 20% movement speed, and 15% armor on kill. So a little bit of everything thrown into one. I'm curious to see if this movement speed stacks with stuff like the Quick Step or the Lady Death. That would be quite interesting if so, but there you go. Moving down, let's talk about Vanity. They said we have moved 15 cosmetic items from the store into the open world, making them earnable through gameplay. Players who already own these items will not receive duplicates, and it says this includes pieces from the City Runner and Pink tracksuit outfits alongside additional standalone cosmetics. Those are the Army Jumper, Anorak Jacket, Hooded Sweatshirt, Running Vest, Work Pants, Jogging Pants, Mosquito Hat, Shade Cap, Motorcycle Glasses, and then the Pink tracksuit shoes, jacket, and pants, and the Echo Runner pants, t-shirt, and sneakers. Pretty cool. Hopefully some of you are glad to see this coming our way. I hope this is a trend that continue in the future, where once stuff has been in the store for, let's say, a year, 2 years, 3 years, move it into the open world. Let people collect it that way. So yeah, cool to see that. Moving on, let's then talk about the new textile vendor cache that is going to be released called the Enhanced Legacy Season Cache. So each week, a new cache is going to be available from the textile vendor, featuring a curated selection of legacy rewards from past seasons. So when you buy one of these, each cache is going to include a guaranteed 3 drops of legacy season loot. So that includes brands, gear sets, named items, and weapons. Guaranteed gear die drops from older season passes if they're unowned, with a total of 100 being included in the cache. And then finally, a 25% chance to receive legacy seasonal exotics. Quite cool. So they have some additional notes here. It says content is sourced from seasons 1 through year 6 season 2 with potential future expansions in future updates. The weekly purchase limit is going to be 2 on these, so you can't just buy them infinitely. It says if you already own all of the available gear dies, you will still receive the gameplay rewards. And you can check whether or not you own all the gear dies by previewing the cache. If the dies appear, you can still earn them. If they do not appear, you already own the full set. I imagine this preview window will look pretty similar to like the winter event caches that we had where you could view the rewards in there. but we will check this out once it is live. So then they go over the legacy seasonal exotics that are included, all of these from Coyote's Mask all the way in Season 1 down to the most recent in Year 6 Season 2 with the Striga and Centurion Scabbard. Pretty cool stuff. They finally then offer a short little guide here on how to find the textile vendor in case you've not visited him before, including some common spawn locations for the Snitch near Castle Clinton, American History Museum, or the buildings near Space Admin HQ. I'll probably end up doing a video once this is live in the patch so that we can look at this together. So yeah, if you need a quick guide on how to find the textile vendor, stay tuned for that video later in the week. But this is pretty cool. I'm all for them making some of these rewards more accessible to players who were not around back then, and especially stuff like the gear dies from older season passes. That should be nice for players who did not play back when those were here. All right, let's keep it rolling though. If we go down past all of this, we get to Scouts. They fixed an issue where Scout 8 Activity 2 did not mention that only hyena activities counted toward completion. That's very nice. I had this issue myself if you watched my stream when I went through this, so that should be helpful for anybody who did not go and do that yet. They have a variety of bug fixes for the NPC companions here, including them not following the correct order to destroy turret weak points in the warehouse, Cadman Plaza control point in Brooklyn. A couple of other Brooklyn-specific issues here, which I'm not going to read out, but you can go through them if you'd like to. The one notable thing that is not here is that the companion, or rather the True Sons turrets have not been fixed. If you don't know what that issue is, it seems like when they buffed the Engineer companion turret, it in turn increased the lethality of enemy turrets. This counts for, I believe, both the Hyena sniper turret, but most notably the True Sons gunner turret. And yeah, there is no mention of that being fixed within these patch notes, which I think a lot of us were both expecting and hoping for. So we will see what we learn about that, but that one is unfortunate to not see listed. Under gear and weapons, they say fix the issue where players could stack talents through abridged by recalibrating weapon talents. This is what, the 8th, 9th fix for the abridged talent and the Tinkerer Mask. At this point, I'm not expecting it to ever be fixed, but we will see what comes from that. And then finally, there was an issue where the Bond talent on the Beacon Exotic chest granted both the PvE and PvP bonuses in PvP areas instead of correctly switching to PvP stats only, so glad to see that one fixed. And then finally, under other, we have multiple localization fixes. All right, everybody. Well, I know we switched between a lot of different topics there, but that is all the news that you need to know for the Division 2 heading into the back half of the week. New updates and patches for the next bit are going to be coming on Thursdays instead of Tuesdays. The first of those patches coming tomorrow includes a new Assassin's Creed collaboration and a new patch with several fixes and changes. I'm going to be going live tomorrow, both here on YouTube and over on Twitch, in case you want to get a first look at some of these things. But yeah, we'll dive into it all with future videos for sure. At this point, I would love to get your guys' thoughts on any and everything that we went over today. What do you think about the switch to Thursday updates? What do you think about what we learned on the stream, the definitive edition, the new patch? Let me know. And yeah, thank you all so much for coming by. I will see you all in the next one. RogueGold. Ow. Oh! We just got a Ravenous! Haha! I might not be friendly. Let's go.
Coming to the Division 2.
Let's go!
And